Jacob, his story is similar to many of your other stories, although this story has been adapted from another book.
Yes.
He's a loner,
Yeah.
he's a dreamer, he's an outsider.
Yeah.
Do you consciously select these stories, or is it something in your subconsciousness that you're not aware of?
Yes.
It's driven by your
Yeah,
background?
that's exactly right, because I don't intellectually think, I usually respond to something emotionally, and even if it's something thematically I've thought about before, this just felt different in terms of the different elements all put together in one thing, you know? I mean, what you described about the Jacob character is absolutely right. And, you know, that whole thing about seeing things that may or may not be there, and that sort of feeling like you might be crazy. I mean, those are all feelings that I remember very specifically. But then there were other elements, like with the other children anyway, like where, you know, they're sort of labeled as peculiar. And the thing that interested me about it is they're not like superheroes, and they're not like, you know, they're just kids with peculiarities, but they're basically like real kids, you know. If you didn't know anything about them, you just say they were normal children. And that was the sort of dynamic that was interesting to me.
But those kids, you see those peculiars.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen peculiars in many of your movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's more in this one. It's like the dirty dozen of peculiars, right?
Because our abilities don't fit in the outside world, we live in places like this.
But now, okay, we agree you have nearly the same story, which sounds like autobiographical. You're telling your life story in many different versions in your movies, but every time you tell it in a different way. You either tell it in animation, you use different color palettes, black and white, color.
Yes.
Even when you do the live action, like Ed Wood was black and white, Big Eyes was lush colors over the same period.
Yes.
How do you make these decisions?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's like first time I look at a project, I go, okay, is it live action or animation or both? Okay. Then is it color, black and white? You ask that question. Then if it's color, I mean, maybe it's the years in design class, but you know, it was taught very clearly, you know, how colors affect us all and how you use color as a mood or an emotion. So it's something we think about. It's something that, you know, with each scene you think about the color scheme of it and what the feel of it is, just because that's part of the emotion of it. So it's, you know, it's like another character. It's part of the fabric of whatever the scene is.
But why do you sometimes tell the story in animation and sometimes you choose live action?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're an animator originally.
Yeah, but I was a bad animator, so I like to dip in and dip out of it. But I don't know. It's again, it's more of an emotional response. You know, sometimes it just feels like, oh, you know, this, I'd like to see this in animation, or I'd like to see this. So I don't know. It's not really, again, an intellectual one. It's just an emotional response.
Gone too long, Alice.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small.
Friends cannot be neglected. Hurry.
And you know you're going to fall.
Somebody who helped you during the course of your career in creating those eccentrics is Johnny Depp. But the interesting thing, when he lost this year, he did Alice with you. I mean, you produced Alice through the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
This time, Alice didn't work out. So you had the same cast. The story is about the same story.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was not received well by the critics and it sank?
Well, I don't know, because I've had that for my whole career. It's interesting, because from the beginning, every movie I've done, you know, like, it could have gone either way. And I mean that sincerely. I mean, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, nobody thought was going to be anything, and it did fine. Beetlejuice, nobody thought anything. You know, Ed Wood, everybody thought was great. It was a complete bomb. You know, I've had movies where, you know, the more critically acclaimed they are, the worse they do. So I've been through it all, and I never can predict any of this stuff. And I think, look, nobody can, right? Because if they could, then every movie would be a giant hit movie. So luckily, the movie industry is still sort of a mystery to people, even the people that have been in it for many, many years. And so, you know, it's like the mystery of life. I have no answer for that.
Do you agree with me? You are an auteur. You create your own stuff. You write them. You create them.
Well, I don't
nobody
write it, but I mean,
interferes.
I do try to collaborate, and I do what, because I can't really do anything else. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, I try to make things the way I feel them. Yes.
Is it relevant to you, the taste of the public, or do you make the movies?
Oh, well,
for
no,
yourself?
you have to, look, I can't, like I said, I can't predict it. I can't go, oh, this is going to be a big hit movie or whatever, because I never know. But at the same time, you're spending money for the studio, so you try to not be irresponsible with it. You try to, you try to deal with it efficiently. You try to deal with it without overdoing it, and then you just try to do from what's in your heart.